Do you love wielding dark magic, or enjoy playing as a spellcaster who manipulates life and death? Are you drawn to the classes that sacrifice their own health for ultimate power or summon legions of undead to do their bidding? If so, the Acolyte in Last Epoch might just be the perfect class for you, because the Acolyte is a master of forbidden knowledge, a spellcaster who thrives on decay, curses, and summoning the undead. But choosing this path is just the beginning, cause at level 20 you are going to face a very crucial decision. Will you embrace the destructive power of the Lich, command an army of the undead as a Necromancer, or wield sinister curses as the Warlock? In this video, we will explore the Acolyte's masteries in detail to help you find the perfect playstyle that will suit your needs. Before we dive into the masteries, let's talk about the Acolyte itself. As a base class, the Acolyte is a spellcaster rooted in necromantic and dark magic. She specializes in decay, curses, and of course raising the dead. While each mastery has its own unique identity, they all share a foundation built around key mechanics, which are health sacrifice, damage over time effects, and of course summoning. Now, choosing the skills for leveling through the first 20 points is more or less up to you. However, you will find that a routine leveling scheme is used in most guides to help you reach the mastery levels as quick as possible, and some passives are just more beneficial than others to help you reach that goal. Now, no matter which path you choose, every Acolyte benefits from intelligence as a primary stat, which increases spell power and effectiveness. The class also features passive skills that reinforce its core themes, like boosting minion strength or enhancing self-sustain through Life Leech, or even amplifying curse effects. This means that whether you choose to play a Lich, a Necromancer, or a Warlock, you'll always be tapping into some form of dark magic, making every build feel thematic yet distinct. First up, we have the Lich. This mastery is all about sacrificing your own health to deal massive damage. Liches thrive in the chaos of battle, constantly walking the line between life and death. With abilities like Reaper form, you transform into a monstrous entity, gaining increased spell damage and Life Leech. Death Seal allows you to lock into your current health, making you immune to further loss while boosting your damage dramatically. Then there's Soul Feast, which consumes enemy corpses to replenish your health while dealing damage. The Lich is a high-risk, high-reward playstyle, perfect for players who love sustaining themselves through pure aggression. Now, some of the pros for this class is that you get insane spell damage scaling. You also will find that there is sustained life through Life Leech, so you can maneuver around the field without dying, and a powerful transformation with the Reaper form. Now, on a side note, this class is very fun to play as you are always switching in and out of the Lich and going back into your Acolyte form. And with that in mind, you have pretty decent survivability, as even though you jump back into your Acolyte form, you still are able to put out lots of damage and your mobility is still there to just move through things. This is the funnest of the three masteries, as you're always switching in and out of forms and the flow of the game feels like it's always going forward, making this one of the more interesting classes to level up. And once you reach the end game, if you build correctly, you will be able to go deep into corruption and be very successful with this class overall. Next, we have the Necromancer, the ultimate pet class. If you want to command an army of undead, this is going to be your best choice. The Necromancer specializes in summoning minions like skeletons, warriors, archers, and mages, and even bone golems. Your power is going to be lying in your numbers and overwhelming your enemies through sheer force. With skills like Dreadshade, you can also boost the damage of your minions, making them even deadlier. And then there is a Symbol Abomination, a terrifying ability that fuses all of your minions together into one big undead monstrosity, which you can then resummon your skeletons to help it fight in the battle. However, you also have to remember that this undead monstrosity does die over time, so you will only have him for a limited amount of time. Now, this build is great for crowd control and damage through minions, because the minions will take the hits for you and it makes it a safe-ish playstyle. However, boss mechanics can one-shot you very easily if you are not aware of where the next big hit is going to be coming. On top of that, there is strong scaling potential for the in-game because you can find minion damage attributes on stuff everywhere, and this just makes it easy to scale this class to massive damage. The problem with this class is more or less that you need to know where to stand at all times, because certain physical damage or other damage creating enemies can kill you very easily if you're not positioned correctly. Also, it is a very passive build. You're literally letting the minions do everything for you. This is a very hands-off class. More or less, you make sure your minions are alive, you make sure that you spawn the buffs on them, and then you just let them go to work. And of course, there is that heavy reliance on summoning and sustaining the mechanics, as things like your Dread Shade will die very often, so you have to keep an eye on these minions whenever they disappear and always make sure that you're reapplying them to the right minion in your party. Overall, I recommend this mastery for any new players that like having an easy experience being carried through the game so that you can get a good feel for how everything is working both early and in late game, as well as the prospects for picking up loot, which will be very beneficial for your next mastery build. I personally have had no issues gearing and scaling my Necro, but I have to say that when it comes to arenas and dungeons, I have been one-shot by boss mechanics more than I would like to admit. But this is not a class issue. This is a I need to get good and learn the fight type of issue. Finally, we have the Warlock, a mastery focused on devastating curses and damage over time effects. The Warlock is all about manipulation, spreading elements like damned, doom, and poison while cursing enemies into submission. Abilities like Chthonic Fissure allow you to erase enemies off the battlefield, while Spirit Plague spreads a contagious disease that melts through groups of enemies with ease. The Warlock also has access to powerful debuffs that weaken the foes and enhance your damage if you are good at placing them on bigger groups. Now, the positives of playing this mastery is that there is devastating damage over time effects that take place, and there are strong debuffs that cripple enemies with a great area effect of damage. However, it does require strategic positioning and setup due to being very one-shot prone, especially if your resistances are not set up properly. You also will find less immediate burst damage compared to the other masteries, so you will need to have a little patience during bigger boss fights and be more aware of where the next big hit from those enemies are coming from. If you like playing a methodological, sinister spellcaster who slowly drains the life from enemies while controlling the battlefield, the Warlock is going to be a very strong bet for you. So, which path will you choose? The reckless devastation of the Lich, the undead army of the Necromancer, or the twisted magic of the Warlock? Each mastery offers a unique experience, catering to different playstyles. Let me know in the comments below which mastery you are most excited to play, and if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more Last Epoch content. See you in Iterra.